We turn now to the crisis in the Middle East, where we saw the deadliest 24 hours in Lebanon since 2006.
Yeah, Israel is ramping up attacks on Hezbollah, and now the U.S. is responding by sending more troops. Professor Richard Sindelar from Rice University's Baker Institute joins us to talk more about it. Welcome. Thanks for being here. I think it's so important when we hear things like that to understand what's at stake for us here. Can you break that down so we better understand what's happening?
Well, first of all, we've been a longtime supporter of Israel, and Israel still, until today, has been the only real democracy in the Middle East. There's the Holocaust background that you don't want Israel to face what they faced, in Nazi Germany. And on top of it, we have an election going on, and we have to be careful about how we deal with a major foreign policy issue that has impact on our election.
So the General Assembly is going on this week at the UN. President Biden expected to speak there. A lot of people will be speaking. Any ideas of what could be presented to calm these issues in the Middle East?
Well, what's probably going to happen, there may or may not be a resolution. I haven't seen anything about a specific resolution. It would be likely that one might come out of the UN after this week of everybody coming for the opening. The key that usually happens at the opening is a lot of major players like foreign ministers, prime ministers, President Biden, Justin Trudeau's in from Canada. There's back channels in the back rooms. We may be able to work a deal. Biden seems to think that we still have a chance of getting some sort of deal so that the Israelis can return to northern Israel. Until that happens, Israel will probably continue its campaign.
There's been so much back and forth with all of this. What are some things that we've learned, lessons learned so far that either help us or don't moving forward and how to deal with it all?
Well, one of the things that I think sometimes we miss is the notion of the security dilemma. You have a threat, you react to that threat. Those who threaten you react to that threat. So now you have a new threat to react to. And what we're seeing in northern Israel, unfortunately, is an organization who's a major party in Lebanon, Hezbollah, who has about 150,000 missiles, is now expanding the number of missiles on a daily basis, and they're also expanding the depth of the missiles. Just in the last 2 days, they've gone beyond hitting just northern Israel all the way to hitting halfway to Tel Aviv.
Obviously, this has been a major topic as we talk about the election going into November. How do you think the decision or decisions made, especially from a U.S. side, will impact what we see in November?
I think President Biden he's a 20th century warrior, and he is reacting as we would in the 20th century with support for Israel. We've just yesterday sortied a second carrier battle group to the Mediterranean. I think it's the Abraham Lincoln that left yesterday. That makes 2 carrier groups in the Middle East. So we're going to be protecting them with aircraft who can shoot down incoming missiles. I think Biden's going to be pretty much all in defending Israel if there cannot be a deal. But behind the scenes, again, he's working on a deal. Whether that happens, I'm frankly doubtful, but at least we have to give diplomacy a chance.
With things changing day by day by day, is there ever an end in sight for this?
That's a hard question to answer. It seems to be getting increasingly worse, and actually Hezbollah has made very clear they won't back down until there's a ceasefire in Gaza, and the ceasefire talks have largely stalled for 2 weeks, and Netanyahu does not seem willing to make the sort of deal in Gaza that Hamas wants. So Hamas is going to continue to fight. That means Hezbollah continues to fight to the extent that things get worse in that security dilemma and more bombings of Beirut. I'm getting increasingly nervous. Contrary to my earlier opinion, I'm getting increasingly nervous that Iran's going to come into this.
All right, well, that's why we have you on standby always to help us out. Thank you for that.
Thanks for having me.
A lot of unrest for sure.
Yeah.